first phase or first element in talent development is probably to know who your talents are. Talent identification, so to speak. So welcome, Arsène, and it would be great to hear some of your views also, particularly on, especially in the first place, talent identification. How do you see that? When do we start with that? How important is it? What are we looking for? Your thoughts?
Well, I would say that before talent identification, it is even a step before that. You have to give people a chance to play. Then you can see who plays well and who doesn't play well. But our immediate and first target is, as you said for FIFA, it's to give everybody a chance to play. The second step is, of course, after to identify who has a little bit more talent or qualities to play, but as well to develop programs, world-class programs to develop the talent in every single country. That's our basic target.
So that fits a little bit with what our data shows when we have done this global talent analysis, that we see that the better countries, they say that the real identification starts around 11 and a half for the boys, 12, 13 for the girls. So that probably fits with that phase, that second phase that you are talking now.
Yes, of course, because that's the time where you see if a body responds to the brain, you know. Because at the end of the day, our feet have to do what our brain wants. And at 11, 12 years of age, we know that. And we see if the players are technically talented or not. And you can first start to identify people who have that quality to run well with the ball. To make basically what we want is to make of the ball your friend, you know. And that means no matter where it comes from, you have to be welcoming the ball. He's always welcome. And once we master that, does it come in the air, on the ground, and my friend, welcome, here you are, welcome to my house.
I'm going to do something with you.
I will do something, we will have fun together, you know. It's never stops. Technical work, technical ability can always be improved. And it improves as well by number of contacts we have in training sessions. And one of the big problems we have in our sport is that we have a limited time that we can dedicate to training. So we have to use it in the most efficient way. And the fact that we have a number of contacts basically should be counted per session, you know, because that is absolutely vital. But when you go from 12 to 16, it becomes, of course, me, my partners, the ball, and as well start with the opponents. That means as well we start to analyze how the timing of your movement, the timing of your availability, when you give the ball, can you be available again? And all this kind of things that shows the progression and the understanding of a game. It's not anymore only me and the ball.
So what we then identify or what we then follow up as coaches, as selectors, is really also how they deal with all these additional factors.
We as coaches have to be seen to equip the player with a baggage that gets him to face any single situation in a game in the most efficient way. Mastery is effectiveness in all kinds of situations.
What makes for you a good academy?
I would say a world-class development program, you know. That means you have absolutely to have a long-term vision on what you can do and how to develop the player. And I would say as well a right balance between competition and time dedicated to improve in training. And we have seen by doing our report that in some countries you have a deficit of competition and a deficit of training. What is really important to understand is that we always think the development of a player is linear. That means we go like that and at the end you arrive at a point. It's not like that. It goes, and when he turns around, the player comes back when he moves forward again. And that's why For the coaches, we have always to be open-minded, and we have sometimes to make decisions, but as well we have to remain open-minded. People can always surprise you. Not everybody develops at the same pace, and not everybody reaches his maximum at the same time. And that's why we have to find the key to help the player. And that's where the communication is important. Inspire the players. And what we do not know enough, models are important for the players,
That's where I think also the academy comes in again, because the coaches work, inspire, but if they work in an environment like an academy, they will inspire each other by working together, by having a general vision of the academy, isn't it?
Exactly, and by stimulating each other as well, You have at the end of the day, the organizations have to create an environment that encourages the players to develop, and as well to create a culture of performance. That means have a clear picture of where I want to go, where I can go, and the coach has a big part to play in that. But he has to create that picture, that clarity in where the player can be at the next level. And we see that now with the girls, as well coming through, that the quality of the education has a huge impact on the results later.
Yeah.
Good structures help as well to develop a human being. When I create an academy, I have to think, how can I educate the man as well inside the football player?
So the pitch is very important, but certain elements around the pitch are key as well.
Of education, and I believe with the responsibility of football today in the society, the quality of the education, not only of the football player, but as well the quality of the man or the girl or the woman we develop is absolutely vital. And we have to and I think there are a few important aspects that we have to take into account on that. We have to make girls and boys accountable, We have to make them respectful. We have to give them the love of the game and place the game above their own ego. I have to serve here the game. It's not about only me, and the love for the game, the respect I have for the game is absolutely vital. And that is decided before the age of 17,
So you also build not only technical skills, but also human character, values. That's also part of a good academy then.
Yes, of course, but let's not forget that these people, these girls, these boys will later as well educate people,
Yeah.
And they will only do that if we give them the values that our game can create.
What makes for you a good coach? How would you describe that? You've been one yourself, but you have seen many around you. So what would you describe as the qualities of a good coach?
I would say a good coach is somebody who has a clear concept of what he wants and what he loves in the game, is capable to express it in an understandable way, and is capable to obtain it on the football pitch. But is as well somebody who loves to help others, And that means there's something more than just going out and coaching a session. There's something about meeting the other person. And to meet him really, try to understand who he is, and there to find the key to help him. Because all the players have different problems.
Yes.
And we can find the key to help them. That's why this is a very interesting aspect of a coach. And we have a chance to be capable to influence people's life. Not only to make big contracts, is to love the game and to get fun by playing together, and to develop their capacity to love the game. And that's something absolutely fantastic.
A coach is somebody that makes a difference in the lives of people, not only in the way they play the game. Now, from that perspective, you wonder also, many times say the top coaches are working in the top clubs with the top players. But we need maybe fantastic coaches then also in all these stages of development of the players.
Yeah, I would say there are different ways to be a coach. There's a coach to be a coach who develops people. And when we speak about the top clubs and top teams, these are coaches who are capable to use people who are already educated in a most efficient way. It's not the same job, it's not the same ambition, you know. And I would say that I read sometimes interviews of big stars today, and they ask the player, who was the guy who influenced you the most?
Yeah.
And you expect always an answer of this coach in Manchester or in Real Madrid. Other than, oh, he's a guy when I was 15 or 16, he's the guy who made me, gave me something that was very important. And that's why it shows how important the coaches at that level are.
The subject of training, you already touched upon it for a moment. For instance, in our study, we noticed that boys, over the course of their, say, playing development career between 16 and 21 years of age or 23 years of age, get significantly more training sessions than girls. And we see also there's a difference across the different levels of play of the different federations, but there's a big difference, especially between boys and girls. Now, we talk about quantity, but also quality of training. So maybe some reflections on quantity and quality of training.
Well, I would say ideally we would combine both,
Yeah.
you know, and that it is true that the girls are behind the boys on that front, and we have to catch back. I will say, personally, I think that will happen naturally, because the girls had a handicap. They started much later than the boys to play at top level and to become regular World Cup players. You know.
Being attracted to the game, the numbers of girls playing, but it's
exactly.
growing.
And we see an explosion now of girls football, and it's absolutely fantastic. And every World Cup, Women's World Cup, is a jump ahead, you know. And so they will catch back. But it's still true that the quality of the competitions and the quality of the training sessions and the number of the training sessions are absolutely important that we correct that. And it's only one solution, is educate coaches.
Yes.
You know.
And also give more space for talented girls to play and to train and to come together.
Organize competitions.
As well. Because competitions drive development, drive more training. I would like to come back also to the quality of the training sessions, because so many times you have spoken to me already about how important it is to use your time optimally.
Yes, because there's I'm used to say, you know, you can train to train, you can train to compete, and you can train to win or to improve. That means you need what is absolutely vital for the boy who comes to training or the girl who comes to training, that she has a vision in their mind to what she will practice on and how she can improve by doing that. The coach is responsible for that, to give her or him a clear vision of what they want to work on, and to construct the session to allow the participant to improve. There is no good training session without a clear vision and desire to have a goal to work on.
So deliberate practice, focused, oriented, with an ambition.
Absolutely oriented and focus and concentrate on what you can do and where you can improve.
We will go to games, you know, because we spoke about training and technology and quality of training, quantity of training. Games, again, very important. We say, and as you said it already earlier, in Europe there is clearly more playing opportunity or games opportunity than in other confederations. But overall, for instance, we see that a 14-year-old boy plays in the top 20 countries from all over the world, 44 matches per season, including friendlies. How do you rate that? Do you think that's a lot? How do you?
I must say, personally, I was surprised by the number of games he plays, because if you think that you play 40 weeks, 44 games for a young boy of 14 years of age, I would say the time dedicated to training is too short.
Yeah.
Because he goes to school, he plays games on Saturday, Sunday, and basically the training part is reduced. We could do with 25 games and more training, you know.
Yeah.
Because what is very important is that the players doesn't come up. I was always promoting young players, And I got many players at 18 years of age who had huge flaws in their game, no left foot, no headers, because they had no time to train.
In these crucial stages that they need to develop. In these crucial stages,
and after it's very late, because once from 18 onwards you go into top-level competition, you have no time to work on these.
So when I hear you speak here, I would say competition, yes, of course, drives development, because not enough competition is not good, but competition can also limit development.
Can a little bit limit development, yes.
Yeah. So we also speak, when we talk about competitions, about age-appropriate competitions. We've done also research on that, and we hear that many countries use adapted sizes of the pitch, adapted numbers of teams versus each other. Your thoughts on that?
I would say, personally, I'm a big fan of that, of reduced numbers, at a young age. Before the age of 12, I basically like to play with reduced numbers. And let's not forget, the basis of a team sport is first as well master the 1 against 1, And the more you expose the players to that, if you're strong in the 1 against 1, is it defensively or offensively, you are strong in the game, You can be under pressure.
There's many that cannot. So there's only few that really
because
can do
they
it
didn't
well.
get it enough. And what is important at a young age, you see all the great players, the common denominator, they can dribble, they can run with the ball. It's the basis, You take from Pelé to Cruyff and up to today to the Ronaldo, Messi, they can all run with the ball and they can dribble. Yeah. So it is very important that we learn that through reduced numbers of players at a young age. And as well, it adapts the physical qualities of the players, and they get more touches in the same session than they would on a bigger pitch. And they are more exposed to play against people and to pass people.
We've got competitions at domestic level, but we also have, of course, competitions at international level. And, okay, what we know is, well, there are, of course, tournaments for clubs, not really regular competitions for clubs, other than maybe the youth league here or there in a confederation, but the main competitions are youth national team competitions. And we see in our research, there is a link between success of a certain generation of a country at youth level, or good results, not necessarily winning, but good results, and later good quality senior national teams. Now, there is no guarantee, but there is an indication. How important are for you youth national teams? How do you rate that?
I would say they are very important because they give, the players can realize that what they need, what they have to work on, that some other countries are better than them, and so it can motivate them to work on some important things. As well, it can increase the level of confidence when you can win already at that age. You think, oh, I have a chance in this job, And let's not forget, you have somewhere to feel I'm at the right place in my life there, And this kind of development is important as well on the international level.
So, talking a little bit further about the national teams, we've got an under-17 World Cup, an under-17 national team, we've got under-20. How important are both, and what's maybe different from under-17 perspective than under-20 in terms of player development?
Well, I would say until the under-17, the month you were born has a big impact, and the number of competitions has a big impact as well. Some players have no chance basically to be in the under-17 because there was under-17 every 2 years. World Cup, I mean. In Europe, you play every year, so all the players have a chance to play, and that's why maybe we have to multiply the under-17 World Cup to give everybody a chance to play in there and gain experience.
So what you are advocating here is to say, let's organize the World Cup maybe every year, so that in each confederation they play qualifiers every year, so that national teams are being selected every year.
They are selected and trained and taken care of, And I would say if you had that motivation, you would certainly already increase the level.
Yeah, because also one of our researchers finds, for instance, that when you are, for instance, unluckily enough, 16 at the year that an under-17 World Cups take place, as a boy, you got 5 times less chances to be selected than when you are happy enough to be 17 in the year that there is a World Cup.
Yes, that's unfortunately the case at the moment.
And we, as we see, and you already said it, in Europe, other than the other confederations, there is an organization every year. Okay, so you're selected for the national team, whether there's now a World Cup or not, so it's less of an impact.
It's less of an impact and less where maybe you deselect less players.
Yes.
You know, because they have a chance to show their quality.
Yeah, because we see that in many countries, national team programs are depending on whether there's a qualification or not. And so it's a drip-down effect. It's a big importance.
Yes, we lose certainly quality players because of that.
Yeah. So is it also important for the coaches then, national teams?
Of course, because you can compare, you know. And we live in a world of competition. Let's not forget that competition means you only survive if you're better than others. And what we want always is to see where we stand. One of the big advantages of sport is that you can always see the result of the quality of your work, and the competition gives you that.
Players are in national teams, they are selected. At some point, they come to the age where that's sort of in the twilight zone, I would say. The transition phase from junior to senior. Between 18, 19 and 21, 23, you already spoke about it. Well, it becomes tougher and many get lost. Your thoughts on that period?
That's what we call the final pathway that you get through competition. And it's as well the final mental hurdle, you know. And that's where we see the final part, I think, of development of a player is a combination of motivation, stamina in motivation, how can I survive disappointment?
Stick to it. Yeah.
And quality of analysis of my own game. That's where I become slowly an adult. And do I analyze well what's happening to me? Can I resist to disappointments? Can I bounce back from disappointments? And I would say, on top of that, to always question, we as a football world don't at the moment help them well enough.
So that twilight zone, I would like to call it, this transition phase, what can we do? Because I think we as educators, as coaches, as academies, as federations, we all can maybe do something to make sure there is a good guidance. How do you see that?
I see that as giving them progressive difficulties through competition. Mm-hmm. That means give them a competition that is adjusted to their level and gives them a chance to improve. But they need now I'm, if you have the image, now I arrive at 17, now I have the baggage to be a football player. Now it's down to me. But to get further, I need to play.
When you are a junior in one of the top 10 domestic leagues, you got a lot less chance to play than when you play in lower divisions.
Exactly, and that's why maybe the clubs who educate today football players, and that in a few years will be the same for the girls, is they have to plan progressive difficulty through competition. Is it to play 1 year in a lower league, 1 year in another country in a higher level of league, and then come back in the year number 3 or 4 to the highest level, you know.
Career planning is key.
Career planning through competition. Until now, we did it through training and competition. Now it is through competition, mainly.
Because this is the phase where competition is further shaping.
Exactly.
Many players do not make it. Also already true to the sheer competition that exists. I mean, it's the pyramid of high performance, of top football. So then we also think, and you already spoke about it, the importance of solid education, well preparing people for life. Let's come back to that, because now we're in the phase that players not necessarily are all going to become further a player.
Yes, and I'm convinced that it's the modern responsibility of football, and is to educate well the potential football players. Girls, boys, we have absolutely, as we said before, build the character, help to build the character, but as well help the education. Because if I'm, for example, we are in 2021 now. If I'm 10 years old today, that means I retire in 2075. You know? Can you tell me what kind of job you will do in 2050 or 60?
Exactly.
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
But we can prepare people to adapt, you know. And that's why I believe that football has a huge responsibility today. And I think some unions now of football players are conscious that they have absolutely to invest a lot of time and money in educating potential football players to deal with the problems if they are not successful.
Yes, and also taking care of their well-being, because, well, we also shouldn't underestimate the pressure that is on top athletes, whether they now make it or not.
If you look at the numbers of stressed players at a young age, between 16 and 20, it's appalling. Now nearly 50%, because the pressure, they invest all their time, they invest all their energy into becoming a football player by not knowing. Between 16 and 20, you don't know.
No, and you need to make important decisions. Am I going to do my further education or not?
The football environment and the sociological environment are so important.
Yeah. So well-being of the players, education, we can't stress it enough. Talent development is talent development as a full human being and not just as a football player.
Yes, and I would say more and more the clubs now are conscious of a mental guidance as well, with a psychologist inside the clubs and inside the academies, and that's happening. But of course, as you know, it happens more in Europe.
Again, our research shows that certain academies do it, but we also see quite a lot of academies or national teams, federations, when the players are abroad, not doing it. So again, it's a call for action to focus on that.
I think it's an important part of it.
Yeah. Okay, we are doing all this work, you know, helping federations and clubs. It's all our ambition to say that more talents should get a chance. Okay, so but who is in the end going to benefit from everything that we do? And also for us, this is a long-term journey. We're not having a quick fix here. We know it's going to be long-term, but who's going to benefit here from this program?
I would say basically everybody, you know.
Yeah.
And especially the happiness in the world, you know. We can contribute a little bit to make people more happy, have a life where they have a pleasure to play, and for the best of them to make a big career. But we can influence the world.
Yeah.
And I would say that's maybe the most exciting and the most inspiring thing, is that we can help a little bit the world to be more happy, because you can say what you want. I played at professional level, but I played as well in my village, and I was happy in my village when I played football, you know, because we are with friends, you can share something together. And as well, let's not forget that we have seen more and more now recently, football has become so important that all the parties inside football have as well a political responsibility, you know. They can influence the world. We have seen that just recently, 2 or 3 days ago, where the players responded to a situation they didn't want. We have seen that during the pandemic. And if we prepare well these people, they will take charge of that, you know.
Any final thoughts, any final recommendations based on what we have done and what we are going to do?
Look, the final recommendation is just that I would just say we are here to help you, you know. We love football, you love football, so let's achieve something together that will make history. And I would say if we, like as you started, Stephen, from the beginning, we want to give everybody a chance to experience the joy of playing football in the world, at his level. But it is an unforgettable experience, and we want to help you to do that.